Today, I'm going to be doing 3 absolutely ruthless shiny hunts that no one would ever dare attempt, seeing as you can't catch the shinies and because I'm just simply built different. So before we get into the actual hunting, let me give you a quick rundown on the terrifying world of uncatchable shiny Pokemon. Yep, you heard me right. There are some Pokemon out there that can be shiny but can never be caught by the player, with probably the most iconic one taking place in Gen 3. Basically, when Wally, one of your rivals, wants to catch his first Pokemon, Norman lets him borrow a Zigzagoon and off he goes to encounter a Ralts. This is pretty much shown as a catching tutorial for the player. However, both the Ralts and Zigzagoon have a chance to be shiny, despite this technically being a cutscene where the player has no control over what happens, making them uncatchable. It's a scary and rare moment where for once you're actually praying not to find a shiny. And well, as a little tease for what's to come, finding the shiny Ralts is one of the 3 hunts I'll be attempting today. Now, catch tutorials seem to be pretty infamous as far as uncatchable shinies go, seeing as it also applies to Weedle in Fire Red Leaf Green, Bidoof in BDSP, Black and White 2's tutorial where Bianca's Purloin can be shiny, as well as X and Y's catch tutorial where your opposite gender rival can have a shiny Fletchling, all never to be seen again after those cutscenes. But that's far from all the uncatchable shinies in the franchise, because you've also got things like shinies appearing in the credits to Pokemon Rumble, Poochyena or Starly being shiny when taught how to battle for the first time, and asking this NPC to fill out your Pokedex in the Sword and Shield DLC, and having that Dex entry show us a shiny Pokemon instead of the normal version. The more you look into the topic, the more you find out just how many Pokemon there are out there that really should have been shiny locked, unlike all the Pokemon people actually want to shiny hunt, Game Freak. And finally, some other quick examples before we actually start hunting include the trainers in Pokemon Emerald's Battle Frontier not being shiny locked, the Shadow Giratina in BDSP showing sparkles despite being forced to kill it, or Professor Juniper's Pokemon being shiny at the start of Black and White 1 and 2, which is another hunt I'll be going for later in this video. Okay, so hopefully you've learned a little more about these pointless and unobtainable shinies, and by now, you're probably asking yourself why the hell I'm even considering hunting them. And the answer's simple: to torture myself and provide you with entertainment. You're welcome. Plus, with how much more popular shiny hunting has gotten over the past few years, it's been getting harder and harder to find and start unique hunts that not many other people have tried before. So why not try hunting for shinies that provide 0 long-term rewards? Also, I kinda wanna have some weird flexes in my portfolio. Oh, you've completed a shiny living dex? Well, have you seen a Wally catch a shiny Ralts before? Yeah, didn't think so. Mic drop. Okay, that's enough overview. Let's actually begin the hunting, starting with exactly that: Wally's uncatchable shiny Ralts. But I'll also take a Zigzagoon if we happen to get that first. And well, we're running the old school method by having multiple games open at the same time to speed up the process. So how exactly do we hunt this thing? Well, basically, I've set up a save right in front of Norman because it's the latest possible time we could save before the Wally sequence goes down. And unfortunately, from the moment you start talking to the moment you enter the encounter screen, almost 50 seconds go by, and then we still gotta wait to see the Ralts, and we might as well stick around to check the Zigzagoon as well, because it's an extra 4 encounters per reset. So with 4 games and roughly a minute per reset, with a classic shiny rate of 1 in 8,192, this hunt is estimated to take a quick 34 hours. Oh my god, what have I gotten myself into? I mean, technically those are the odds to find a specific shiny we want, being Ralts, but like I just mentioned, we're still checking the Zigzagoon as well, essentially doubling our encounters per reset, meaning we can basically cut that time in half to an estimated 17 hours. Still not great, but I can't let that daunting figure distract me from the goal. And fun fact, well, actually more like a not fun fact, even if he catches a shiny Ralts, it doesn't stay shiny outside of the catch tutorial, meaning he can't have a 6 shiny Gardevoir at the end of the game, which is so stupid. And the Zigzagoon won't be a shiny Lanoon during Norman's gym battle either. Anyways, I spent hours repeating the same actions over and over again. Mash through the title screen, click the save file, spam the A button 1,000 times to get through the text boxes, rest my hands for 10 seconds as Wally walks me up to the grass patch, press A a few more times, watch the Ralts show up on screen, wait for Wally to throw out Zigzagoon, soft reset the game, and repeat. The first couple of hours wasn't the worst, but the deeper you sink into the hunt, lacking anything to show for it, the worse it starts to feel to keep going. At some points, I felt like a zombie AI with a programmed sequence of actions I just had to repeat for all eternity. Many more hours went by with nothing to show for it. However, a little over 29 hours into this hunt, on the 7,205th Ralts spawn, we finally got something to shine. Oh yes, there it is! Shiny Ralts! That is so cool. Oh my god, we got it. That took so long. Oh my god, he's already damaging it. I've got to cherish this moment because like it's going to be gone in a few seconds. Wow, that took forever. It's so beautiful. Oh, he's taken back his Zigzagoon and it's time to catch it. It's a real shame that the shiny doesn't like stay shiny when it evolves into Curlier and Gardevoir. It's such a missed opportunity. I'm so happy this hunt's over. And just like that, it's gone forever. One uncatchable shiny found, 2 to go. Was the long and painful wait worth the results? Maybe? Well, it's certainly not something many people can say they've seen happen before, which is worth something, I guess. And if you remembered what I said earlier, our next hunt will take place in the Unova region, specifically Pokemon Black 2, where if you open a new save file, Professor Juniper will introduce you to the wonderful world of Pokemon and show off her adorable Cinccino. This Cinccino happens to have a 1 in 8,192 chance of being shiny, and I was actually planning to do half the setup on Pokemon Black 1 and the other half on Black 2, seeing as her Minccino in the original can also be shiny. But for the important reasoning of I forgot, we just stuck to the sequel. This was thankfully so much quicker than Wally's Ralts, because from the time of the game loading up to starting a new save and her throwing out her Pokemon, only around 28 to 30 seconds passed, which is half of what our previous hunt took. It was as simple as that. Oh, and I cannot believe how quickly this hunt went by. Like, from what I just went through in Pokemon Ruby to this is insane, because after only 1,640 Cinccino checks, and only a little over 3 hours into this hunt, we were met with an amazing surprise. What? Already? What? What the hell? That was so quick. I'm only like 3 hours into this hunt. That was insanely quick. Wow, it actually looks so cool. There's not really a whole lot I can do with it except say goodbye. Well, that's that's another uncatchable shiny found, I guess. It's a very bittersweet feeling. Wow, that blew by so fast. 10 times faster than Ralts, in fact. But thankfully, we've still got one more uncatchable shiny to go. Or should I say 3, seeing as it's probably the most exciting and fun hunt by far. Returning to Generation 3, this time in Pokemon Emerald, the Battle Frontier Island houses a building known as the Battle Factory, and in there you can fight off random trainers with rented Pokemon, and if you select the double battle option, you'll be given the opportunity to pick 3 of 6 random Pokemon to rent. And you've probably guessed by now, these rented Pokemon can be shiny. Yes, you do get to use them in battle for a little bit, but what makes them technically uncatchable is the fact that you're forced to return them to the factory once you're done. Now, I'm pretty sure there are glitches and exploits you can do to keep the rented Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure they'd be classed as illegal Pokemon, so it'd be the same as just hacking them in. And the reason I love this hunt so much is because the options of Pokemon to rent are completely random, meaning you'll never know what shiny you're gonna find. Plus there's 6 of them, so with 4 games, I'm getting 24 checks per reset. And as a cherry on top, you can also choose between 2 options of Pokemon you'd like to see, because before you're shown the rentable Pokemon, you're asked if you want them to be level 50 or level 100. If you pick 50, you'll get more basic or first evolution Pokemon, whereas the level 100s are usually the fully evolved stuff. Now unfortunately, there's one big problem with this hunt. Pokemon Emerald's RNG, or random number generator, isn't exactly random. Well, kinda, but I'll do my best to explain it in a way you can hopefully understand. Okay, so in Pokemon games, each frame that passes in-game, everything that should be randomized gets randomized. So getting an encounter with a Pokemon on this patch of grass can be visualized as a timeline of frames that'll be generated the first time you start a new save, where each individual frame will determine what Pokemon you encounter, what the stats are, and if it's shiny. And with a 60 FPS game, you'll quickly go through 60 of these frames every second. Now, I'm only showing 10 frames here on the timeline just to simplify things, but just know the timeline basically goes on forever. Now, basically, every time you start and load into the game, you'll be given a seed, and what a seed does is determine what frame in the timeline you start on. But for Pokemon Emerald, it's different. Okay, still following along? I hope so. So now I'm going to try and give you a visual demonstration to show you the difference between most Pokemon games compared to Emerald, seeing as that might be easier to understand. Alright, let's just say I'm playing Pokemon Fire Red and I boot up my game. My seed is then randomly put onto frame 6, and then let's theoretically say I get an encounter on the next frame. I encounter a Pokemon, and on frame 7 it's a non-shiny Weedle. So I soft reset my game, and this time the seed has been randomized to be put on frame 3. And then hypothetically on the next frame I get an encounter, and oh my god, it's a shiny Pidgey. Resetting the game randomized what I got. However, let's move to Pokemon Emerald. So I boot up my game, and my frame will automatically be sent to 0 for some stupid reason. And this will happen every single time if you're playing Emerald. So let's just say I get an encounter on the next frame and it's a regular Spinder, but I wanted a shiny, so I soft reset my game, but all this does is just put the starting seed back onto 0. So after getting an encounter on frame 1 again, I get the exact same Spinder with the exact same stats and the exact same pattern. The seed will always start on 0 and everything can be predicted if you've already seen it. Yes, this is a pretty dumbed down explanation to this, and I could be completely wrong about some things, but that's how it works, I'm pretty sure. So, back to our Battle Factory shiny hunt. My point is, if I ever time myself from loading into the game to checking the 6 rental Pokemon within a 60th of a second of another time I soft resetted, I'll be seeing the exact same Pokemon. Now yes, with the 60 FPS game, you might think it'll be hard to be landing on the same frames, but when you consider all I'm pretty much doing is mashing A, I'd most likely just be seeing the same frames in a 10-second window. So the solution to counteract this crazy issue is to time my button presses differently every reset, so we're never hitting the same seed. Some ways I'd do this is by counting before talking to the NPC, so I'd go 1, 2, press, the next time I'd go 1, 2, 3, press, and so on. Or then sometimes I'd imagine a metronome in my head and do it to different beats. As long as they were at different times, or at least not within a 60th of a second of another reset, the Pokemon to rent would all be random. Now it was a little annoying having to sit and wait for different timings, but other than that, it was a super fun challenge. And as I mentioned earlier, I ended up going for more than one shiny with this method. And then, after 11,178 checks, which actually only took 11 hours, we finally found our first one. Wait. Oh, that is 100% shiny. Shiny Slacking! Wow, he looks so much better in these games. And yep, that's definitely shiny. Look at the number. It's in gold text. I love not knowing what shiny I was gonna get. All right, let's rent that bad boy. Imagine we get a shiny from one of the trainers, because the trainer's Pokemon can also be shiny in this, which would also be uncatchable. And no, it doesn't look like any shinies, but let's see our Slacking. There he is. Oh, and the sparkles. That is so cool. Definitely not my favorite shiny, but he looks much better in this than he does in the modern games. Let's see him do an attack, I guess. Oh, he flinched. Never mind. All right, so I just beat the trainer, and I'm pretty sure we're now given the option to either keep battling or to retire and return the Pokemon. It was nice knowing you for like 3 minutes. This hunt was super rewarding, seeing as you actually get to use the Pokemon, and you'll never know what the shiny's gonna be. So I kept going, and it was time for round 2. And somehow, only an hour later, we found another shiny. Wailord! Oh my god, Thanos Whale! Yes, we got another shiny! That is such a good one to get. Everyone loves shiny Wailord. That was incredibly quick as well. Not even 1,000 encounters. Alright, do the trainers have any shinies? Doesn't look like it. But let's see our Wailord. Oh my god, you can barely see him. Oh my, he's literally getting Mike Wazowski. You can't even tell that's Wailord. It kind of just looks like muck because of the purple. Oh my god, he died. I am so sorry for the short life he lived. I then felt like finishing off the video with one last shiny, and again, we got extremely lucky, finding our next one after only 1,656 checks. Oh, shiny Nosepass! Yo, that's a sick one! That is so cool! That's one of my favorite shinies. Alright, one last time to see if the trainers have any shinies, and that is a no. But let's have a look at our yellow nose man thingy. Oh, that is so cool. He's also getting pretty covered up by the UI, but that's okay. And then once this battle's done, we'll return him and he'll be gone forever. So there you have it. You just witnessed a man waste around 50 hours shiny hunting and coming out of the challenge with 0 shinies. 5 spotted, but gone forever. Anyways, if you want to see what crazy shiny luck really looks like, make sure to check out this video where I spent 100 hours shiny hunting in Pokemon Legends Arceus. And thank you all so much for watching.